Canada is absolutely furious, and it's putting the screws and twisting it into Donald Trump and the Trump regime. This right now is the time when the Canadian snowbirds would normally be coming to the United States, going to places like Florida and seeking warmer weather during the winter. But right now, Canada's boycott not only is stronger than ever against U.S. tourism and against U.S. products, but let's face it, Canada's boycott is accelerating. Canadians are pissed at the Trump regime. Canadians do not want to be anywhere near the United States, frankly, although they're close enough as is based on Donald Trump sending human beings into concentration camps. And we've seen a number of Canadians rounded up as well. And Canada wants to fight back against the fascism and authoritarianism in the Trump regime. And Canada is sending a major message internationally as well, leading the resistance against this fascist Trump regime. For more, I want to bring in Charlie Angus, leader of Meidas Canada and the Meidas Canada Resistance Tour, to talk about how snowbirds boycotting the Trump regime and the United States right now is going to have a further catastrophic impact on the United States and in the United States right now. Let me bring in Charlie Angus, the leader of Meidas Canada and the Meidas Canada Resistance Tour. Charlie, good to see you.
News out is that the U.S. is reeling now from a $5.7 billion hit to tourism from Canadians walking away and not putting up with Donald Trump's threats anymore. So what does that mean? Well, in terms of airlines, it means 320,000 airline seats went empty that would have been filled. A number of airlines have dropped routes to the United States. I was talking to some who say that even when the routes are still available, the airlines won't advertise them because they fear public blowback. So that's not really good for attracting tourists, is it, Rick DeSantis and the other MAGA governors? But where it's going to really hit is this year, this winter, starting right now with the annual trip of the snowbirds heading south. That they bring in, it's been said, expecting $20.5 billion to the U.S. economy. In Florida, I mean, they hire staff. Hospitals that sometimes are closed are put back into production because of so many seniors coming down. The $20.5 billion is a serious investment that's badly needed in the United States right now. So what are people telling us? Well, 77% of Canadians now have a very negative view of the United States and or traveling to the United States because of risk. 77%. Across the board, we see estimates that the snowbird travel to the United States will be significantly lower this year. And Donald and MAGA, my God, what are they doing to roll out the red carpet? They're now saying, yeah, if you're a snowbird, come to visit us and we will fingerprint you and take your photograph just like a common criminal. And well, we know how they treat people that they consider the criminal class in Donald Trump's America right now. So people are not going. There's a lot of real estate owned by Canadians in all those sunshine states, and they are selling that real estate off. A number of people said they're just walking away from properties. So that's having a huge impact as well. So who are the beneficiaries? Well, Canada has seen an unprecedented increase in travel this year. Production numbers show $59 billion in domestic travel, and also other international travelers deciding to come visit Canada because, hey, we're elbows up and we're holding the line. $59 billion between May and August. That's extraordinary. Another surprise, KLM, Air France KLM, which was seeing a major economic hit last year, they're up 30% because Canadians who would normally head down to the United States are choosing to travel to Europe. Another beneficiary is South America. Canadians are checking out South America, and my God, such beautiful country, of course. Now, as for the travel to Canada, there was a dip from American tourists who were afraid of coming to Canada because of all the tension and hatred spun by Donald Trump. But the numbers are coming up again. And so what they're talking about is a $70 billion trade deficit. You know, Donald Trump's always going on about how America's getting ripped off with trade deficits. Well, the doofus is creating the trade deficits, a $70 billion trade deficit in travel this year, as more people from the United States are leaving to visit other places and nobody's coming back to visit. So it's going to be really crucial these next few months to maintain the boycott. You know, friends, don't let friends go to Megaland. I know we got a lot of seniors here, people who normally travel, and we get it. You know, share your stories. Tell us what you're thinking of this year. We know that many are actually looking at other destinations. They're looking into Mexico. They're looking to Costa Rica. Pulling that money out of MAGA is really, really vitally important right now. I want to just also talk a bit about, you know, the other efforts of the ongoing boycott. It's having really positive impacts as well. We're seeing huge increases in Canadian trade, that Canadian-owned businesses are booming. But in terms of what has happened to the American liquor market, where 85% of the overall American export market wiped out, thanks to Canada, 97% of American wines to Canada wiped out. The other countries aren't even in the game. But Sourpuss Liquor has made the decision to shift production to Montreal because they lost 98% of their market because of the Canadian boycott. So Sourpuss has decided they're going to become Canadian. They're going to set up in Montreal and sell their products. So, hey, listen, I don't do shooters at the bar, but I think let's give a shout out. Once Sourpuss is set up in Montreal, I think people should be buying. I think we should be encouraging those companies that recognize that they have to invest in Canada in order to be able to sell in Canada, because we're not dealing with the gangster from Mar-a-Lago and we're not being pushed around. So Sourpuss is probably the first of many American companies who are going to shift production to the Canadian side because they can see that our consumers will support products made in Canada. That is the power of the boycott. Now, I know Donald Trump's probably got other things to consider right now than Canada. Jeffrey Epstein, those emails. Yeah, you saw my recent piece, hopefully, on the very dark world of Donald Trump and the sexual abuse of young girls tied to Jeffrey Epstein. And hopefully it's going to start to, that ugly, ugly Roach Motel at Mar-a-Lago is going to burn to the ground because of this, but we shall see. But what's interesting is that Canada, like so many other countries, are moving on. You know, Prime Minister Mark Carney made a really interesting statement. He said that, talking about Donald Trump, he said, you know, in the middle of the night, early in the morning, all hours of the day, he was getting these text messages from the criminal from Mar-a-Lago. He said a lot of them were in caps and exclamation marks, and there's no time limit. There's 24/7 element to it. In other words, it's not apparent how much the president of the United States sleeps. So it was Donald Trump continually haranguing our prime minister, not the other way around. But now Dominic LeBlanc, Canada's U.S. trade minister, said this week, we're not going to wait around and look at our phones and turn up the notifications to make sure we don't miss a thing just because someone sent us a text message at 9:30 last night. Ooh, burn, Dominic, burn. We're not going to sit around and check our phones for Donald Trump. So Donald, you can pout and you can hide. And again, you got way bigger problems on your plate right now. But Canada is moving on. The trade negotiations, we're starting to now shift talk about expanding trade with India and China. And our relations with India and China have been very, very toxic. The Modi government are not nice people. Canada's had serious issues with India about security, about violence, about electoral interference. And yet we're deciding that they are potentially better partners to work with than the United States. That's serious. We're hearing that Canada and the Europeans are probably not sharing intelligence with the United States because of what's happening with them bombing these boats off Venezuela. That's serious as well. We used to be the closest of allies. If we're not sending intelligence over, it's because we don't trust these guys anymore. But anyways, back to the snowbirds. This is going to be where the battle's fought. So folks, if you're looking to head south, go to Mexico, go someplace else. Hey, stick around, see Canada. I'm a snow boy. I like the snow personally. But spend the money here or spend it in democratic countries. Do not break the boycott. Tell your friends not to break the boycott. If the United States loses this $25.5 billion or it sees a huge hit, it's going to have a huge impact on the MAGA machine, and you're going to see more and more starting to call out Donald. And that's when things like the documents on Epstein and that are going to start to get released, because politicians are going to realize they don't want to be tied to this toxic individual any longer.
Love this video? Support independent media and unlock exclusive content, ad-free videos, and custom emojis by becoming a paid member of our YouTube channel today. You can also gift memberships to others. Let's keep growing together.